Call this meeting to order then. This is a meeting of the Rules Committee of the Representative Town Meeting at Darien. And here at the start of the meeting, without objection, I'd like to add an update from the Planning and Zoning Commission relating to their fees. We sent out their new fee schedule and we have to approve it. So without objection, I'd like to add that to our agenda tonight. Are there any objections?
No.
Okay,
All those fees are included.
Hearing none. Okay. Next would be, and I'll take that up as the first item when we get down to discussing and voting on the RTM items. Approval of the minutes of February 13. Can I have a motion to approve, please? I see Mark.
I'll second.
Second from Jack. Great. Corrections, additions, anything? Any changes? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? Okay, opposed? I see none. It's unanimous. The minutes are approved. Next is a report from our Rules Technology Committee. We've set aside a couple hours for that. No, go right ahead, Lois.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it the short way, rather than having discussions. Just a few items and votes, and we have more information. We'll come back to you. So, looking for just general guidance. And I know that there's a meeting coming up, so we're trying to not get involved. We're not going to make anyway. So the technology committee is Mike, Mark, myself, and Krista attended our meeting on Thursday night. There are a bunch of issues that we're working on. So the first one is what you're seeing here today. Thank you, Mike. Great job. You want to give an update on where we are?
It's working.
So this is available in room 119, right?
It's available to, committee chair will have to go through training, but it's available in this room.
Okay, for all committees. So that's cool. Great job. And thanks to TV79 because they bought the equipment.
Yes. And it turned out they were working everybody to shoot this meeting because they had 3 meetings going on at one time at the last moment. So it's lucky we had this as a backup.
So the next topic is
George Ariel.
reminds me to turn off my phone. The next topic is what I want to do is have just get your concurrence that having virtual meetings, having the ability to do virtual meetings for the RTM is important. There's been some changes in the technology available within within our environment where we have some ideas and we're working on the details. But what I really like to know is do we as the Rules Committee believe that having the ability to do virtual meetings when they're necessary is something that we support. Are there any questions or any discussion?
Well, I'll only add that based upon what I've been suggesting, such as there's no reason for certain contingencies around here, because within 48 hours, the RTM can call a meeting and approve anything that's necessary. That should be able to save the town some money. So this is essential to be able to do that in 48 hours.
And part of the reason I'm asking for the vote is there are going to be some things we need to ask for support from the town, and I'd like to say it's coming. We'd like to say it's coming from the Rules Committee and not just the Technology Committee, even though we're very important. So,
I have a motion to move that we should have the capabilities for virtual meetings for the RTM.
I will second.
Okay, we have a second. All right. Any
And the second.
second was Ann. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I just like to say that it's nice to have another tool in the toolbox.
Yeah.
No, it's the only tool in the toolbox.
Between travel and illness or business or family issues, it gives people flexibility.
Well, that's a different
So
story.
that's a very different, that's not what we're
hybrid.
voting on.
We're talking about the ability to have a full-blown RTM meeting virtually, like we used to do
Right.
when we didn't. So we're not talking about hybrid. We're not
Okay,
going to mix. But the committees can do can use this technology or the committees can do hybrid. Okay? We're all on the same page.
One question with that motion, that the RTM should have the ability to have a virtual meeting when necessary, or should have the ability to have a virtual meeting?
I have missed, not when necessary,
That's,
to have.
I want to make sure I got the quote.
Yes,
I think it's needed, because we would have to decide it was going to
yes,
be.
no,
Yeah.
So
right.
it's not that it can just randomly happen.
No, it's not.
No,
yeah.
The Rules Committee
Right.
has to.
Rules would have to make a decision, so
Yes.
saying
Or
how
our
necessary is
chair
not,
leader may.
not necessary.
I have some limited things that I can do, but
So I'd like to ask for a vote on this.
yes, well, I'm just checking to make sure. Is there any further discussion? Okay, ready to vote? All those in favor? Okay, opposed? I see none. Abstentions? I see none. It's unanimous. It's approved.
Okay, great. The next topic that we've been doing some research on, because we have some new ideas, is the issue of posting emails of RTM members on the web. I don't want it, and I'm just drawing a line right now. I don't want to get into a long discussion. I don't want to get into a discussion of how we're going to do it, who should do it. But what I would like from our meeting right now is, I want to explain how it works right now. And the question that we have for you all is, should we research other ideas, or are we comfortable with where we are and not go to this? Okay, make sense?
you're talking about, should we research additional options?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, or change.
Well, let's
it.
do the description
So,
first.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So what exists, Mike, can you put up the,
No,
okay.
Yeah, what-
You
In a
can
word?
see how we
No.
work, right?
Yeah, we can-
The answer is no before I ask the question. Great.
I didn't get power until literally he walked in the room, so I didn't get a chance to, but I have the,
No, that's okay. It's okay.
so anyway, I didn't have
I'll
time
wait.
to rehearse screen sharing
Okay.
because I didn't have
So-
any power until 2 minutes before. somebody
Right
walked in.
now, there is a page on first of all, the town website is going to be rebuilt and redone. So that's 1.1, okay? Secondly, the town website, there's an RTM page, and on the RTM page, it says to reach members of the RTM, here is an address, and it's, Crystal,
Darien, rtm@darienct.gov.
and any email to that, and that's our public access, that's where we are, okay? We have posted under the members, our phone numbers and our addresses, total aside. We're not going to debate any of this stuff. Anyway, this is just where we are. So an email will come in, if someone finds this address, an email will come in to Krista, and Krista will distribute. If it's to a particular person, Krista will send it to the person. If it's to the general RTM, Krista will send it to the general RTM, correct?
If it comes in, it automatically goes. George has set it up so that email goes to Seth, myself, and the district chairs automatically, like automatically forwarded.
Okay.
So just like maybe take a step back, and then I'm sorry, then you could.
And if they ask to go for full RTM, Krista will then send the email out to full RTM. So that it's a standard procedure of how we're going to work, how we work. This is the way things are now. We've come up with some ideas to do it a little differently. But if we're and the reason we don't want 70% of the emails are not darienct.gov. A number of people use 70% use another email, whether it's an RTM label or their own personal emails. So that
You're referring to RTM members,
yeah.
not emails that come in.
No, right,
Okay.
I'm talking about RTM members and one of the issues is the ability, not wanting our personal emails up on the web that can be scraped and then, thank you, go to, oh yeah, there it is, it says, no, a little further, can you go down a little so we can see the,
Boy, now you're,
you know me, I go for it.
Testing
It's right
the
there, it's in
limit.
the gray area, it says how to contact the RTM.
Yeah,
Anyway, no big deal.
yeah, that's right.
Thank
It's
you,
the next
Mike.
line.
There it is. Okay, stop. It says RTM contact email, and that's how people do it. So the question is, we've come up with some other ideas. But if we want to leave it the way it is, that it goes through the single address, then we should vote that we don't need to do any more work, and that's where we are. If we want us to pursue and come back with recommendations, we're not going to go ahead on anything without the other rules committee agreeing to what we come up with. Just in discussing things with the town, I would rather say the rules committee would like to see some, are considering some changes, and therefore, please support us in these kinds of things. So that's my proposal.
Yeah, but I have some questions on that.
Yeah.
As for that process, I don't see a need to make a change.
Okay.
If you want to have a process that everyone gets a ct.gov address, and there's an option so that the ct.gov can be sent to the personal email, then that's an option I would like you to pursue.
Okay, that is,
So just when you're saying
Okay.
no changes to that, but potentially other changes to go ahead, prosper and look at.
okay, because that is what as you know, that is what we've been looking at and come up
Right.
with some cool ideas.
But I wanted to make sure
They're separate.
that they were separate.
It seems
Okay,
to me that the system that's there works well, particularly because for some people writing in wouldn't know who to send it to. And rather than sending it to the wrong person and then having that RTM member have to go to get it to the right person, going through the channels that it's going through now, where it goes to Seth and Krista and it goes to the district chair, seems to be logical to me.
okay.
So for
So-
that
so
part,
it's-
great.
Okay, so the question, so it's really the second part is, what we are proposing, we look into is standardizing the email addresses, and so that we can put them up on the web.
Hmm.
But isn't it effective we have now, just that people are electing not to do it?
Well, no, because what we're thinking about is the ability to use the standard ct.gov and then have it forwarded to our personal.
Right,
Yes.
okay, no, that
Yeah,
part,
yeah,
yes.
that we don't
Yeah.
have that right now.
No, that part I understand, but
Okay.
clearly everyone has the ability to get a ct.gov. And they,
Yes.
some people have elected not to.
Right,
Right.
70% of us don't.
Well, Lois, the majority of new members are choosing the Darien CT. I can just sort of,
Yes,
I'm
I
not
know, and
disputing
then-
your comment, but just,
Yeah, Chris,
as I
and then
see-
they don't get their emails, and 2 months later, we find out that they don't know.
All right,
about
okay,
it.
let's-
So,
I don't want to, I'm just,
Chris, I want to separate, because every
Okay.
time you go down and you come to a fork in the road and you treat them as the same,
Okay.
I got a problem.
okay,
So number one, we should pursue an investigation of whether or not having a CT.gov, we have the capabilities to have that sent to personal emails at their option. That's one thing. The second thing is, do we need to have any email up there?
Right.
Whether or not it's everybody having the CT.gov one, because that still allows for somebody to strip and for me to get spam, and I don't want that.
Well, I'm also concerned, if emails are arriving to you on your personal email, that opens your computer up to be subpoenaed.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but that's,
that, you can have it, as if it just comes in to the, what I'll call the portal, the DarienCT.gov portal, and stays there and is held there, then you are putting up a Chinese wall, if you want, between yourself and your personal stuff and the stuff that pertains to Darien government. And right now, the way it is, anybody who's using their personal emails to receive business that relates to our government is subject to having their computer and their records subpoenaed if there's a problem.
So,
can I,
Sure.
wait, can I just, I don't, what I wanted to have is authorization or encouragement or support to figure out what options we have. Okay, how can we make it work? Then come back to the Rules Committee, have this discussion about, do we want to allow people to forward or not forward, or use it or not use it? And Seth, you're totally right, but 70% of us are already.
Hanging out there, right?
So,
and are aware of that, and have
Yes.
made the choice to do that.
Yep.
So I would rather people get communications than, because somebody's worried about somebody else's business, that we don't get messages out.
Yeah, Jack, okay.
So,
You
yeah.
want to say something?
I'm just raising this, it's probably very unpopular, but well, I'd ask Krista, what's the appetite or lack of appetite for saying you have to have, and you have to, I mean, as a business practice, especially with the FOIA, discussions we're going to have, you have to use their NCT.gov email for business, period.
Town council has recommended that elected officials operate under a DarienCT.gov address.
But we cannot force them.
Good, of course.
But have we pushed, I mean, have we
But that,
made the statement that Krista just described?
yeah, we do it every
Yeah.
year.
I am one of those people.
Other people are shaking their heads saying no,
You're
so I have
one
to
of those
ask the
people that
question.
what?
I'm one of those people, I have the Darien.gov and I do not use it.
I don't use it either, so you're not alone in it.
I have it and I use it.
I use both my personal.
Anyway,
and
this is-
what it is.
What?
Teresa has a question.
Teresa.
Teresa.
It's not a hi. I'm sorry I couldn't come in person tonight. I don't have the CT.gov one either because I know I probably wouldn't check it. I just know that about myself. But I think like I have seen people FOIA stuff and they go after the personal email too. So that's why I've never really felt the need to get the Darien.gov one, because I know if somebody really wants to see something, they're gonna FOIA my personal email as well.
That's correct.
Okay, so what I'm looking for right now is that we should investigate this further, that two parts. One is the way up on the web, it has an email address that people can write to, and then it's forward taken care of, as Krista described. Let's talk about that. Are we comfortable with that? And we're not going to change that. Is
I'm
that,
comfortable with that.
And we're comfortable.
Again, well, the policy for the full RTM, I would still need to speak with Seth because we've had issues with that sort of
But that's,
policy.
between you and the
Well,
existing policy, so we don't need to change.
Fair enough, okay, fair enough.
okay, so do we need a motion?
No.
about it? Or just everybody, I don't hear any objections, so let's move on.
All right.
So the second part,
That's fine.
is that okay?
Yeah.
The second part is, should the technology committee continue to look into the different options for the use of DarienCT.gov, our personal emails, and if we can forward and things like that.
Yes.
I think so,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so that's what I wanted, because I want to go back to the town and say, we as a group really believe we want to do some more research on this. Because there's some implications, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't ask, and I just tell you it's available. Okay, Mark, Mike, anything else we want to do on technology?
I don't think so.
That's our speech.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
Nice
You don't
job.
need a motion for that last part about the
No,
technology.
it's just
That's the
advisory.
continuation of
I-
what
And
we're doing.
I have
Yeah.
about 20 minutes left in this.
I know, that's why I'm shutting up.
Okay. Good, thank you. So,
Thank you.
great report, great work. A lot to it. Okay, assignment of committees, Susan Marks and Yuan,
Holly.
She goes by Holly.
Holly.
We are assigning Susan to Park and Rec. And Holly's first and second choice were education and F&B, and Mark and I discussed it, and we did not think this is the right time to add anyone to either of those two committees in the process. So we're going to assign her to her third choice, which is planning and zoning, planning, housing and zoning, with the idea that if she runs and is elected in the fall, she can choose to go on F&B or education at that point and start at the beginning of the process.
I thought there being those two committees are pretty heavy workload, especially during budget season, and we're smack in the middle of budget season.
Yeah.
To come up to speed would be tough, presumably.
Okay, so can I have a motion to assign Susan Marks to Park and Rec and Holly Wong to PZNH? I have Ann and a second from Mike. Okay, further discussion? All in favor? Okay, opposed? I see none. Abstentions? I see none. It's unanimous. Motion passes.
And just for clarity, the
Yes.
Park and Rec was Susan's first choice.
Okay. great. Next, we'll start discussion here on various RTM items and assigning committees. The planning, zoning, and fees, they've asked that be put on the agenda for March 20. Assigning committees, we're thinking PZNH primary, F&B secondary.
Yep.
Adding the planning and zoning fees.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have to do that at our March meeting because all those fees are included in the next year's budget.
And you want
Prime.
PZNH
Primary.
as the primary.
Yeah,
Jeremy's coming to our meeting Thursday.
Need a motion?
Yes,
yes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
All right, all those in favor? Okay, opposed? Looks like it's unanimous. I don't see any abstentions. Okay. Next, update on the change in the accounting, police false alarm fees.
I've had a meeting with, Kate and Jen spoke to Monica. I was just waiting for some feedback. I just got it late tonight. I'll be sending an email to have a brief conversation with the police chief and trying getting onto the police commission's agenda, which I believe is Thursday. That's all right. They don't want to meet with me. It's happening anyway. Quite honest.
They haven't canceled that meeting.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine, but if not, I'll speak individually to each one. So,
Do we want, is
we
that,
have the ordinance written, by
There's
Wayne.
copies of it.
Yeah. I already have it.
Take one and pass it on.
will it be ready for March 20?
Yes,
Okay,
it'll probably be ready before that.
and that would be, we've got F and
Actually, could
B.
we say that it's ready now? This is the,
No, it's not ready now, only because F&B hasn't voted on it. So,
I mean, coming out of this evening.
I still have to meet with those other two groups.
All
So
right.
it won't be ready until I meet with them.
Wayne, sent it out this afternoon.
Right, but that's just
And
the
so what,
ordinance.
we'll rely on you getting back to Wayne?
I've already
and
spoken to
Krista
Wayne
Put
on
it
it.
into the, next.
I've already spoken to Wayne on it.
Okay, so, in other words,
So Wayne's.
I don't have anything more to do with it.
Right, basically,
Okay.
yeah.
For clarity.
Yeah, so that's.
That was clear.
That's basically an F&B initiative. It's something that I've been looking at for about 10 years.
You want public health and safety on it or not?
No. Well, they can be if they want to, but this is purely an accounting change.
Okay.
Okay, so
It
that'll be
changes
ready for
nothing
March
else
20.
in the
okay.
regulation, other than where the money goes. For fiscal '24, the fines go into the general fund.
Oh, okay.
They continue to spend down the reserve that's there at the end of fiscal '24, July 1st. Whatever left gets closed into the general fund. And for fiscal '25, fines go into the revenue of the general fund and expenses go into the town budget.
Did we have a
Okay,
motion?
so we'll, I'll take a motion then, for the change in accounting, for the police false alarm fees as as signing F and B.
Yep. That works.
Lois is begging here, and second. All right, all in favor? Okay, opposed? I see none, abstentions, I see none, it's unanimous. Next, amending Appendix B, committee descriptions, that is, I guess, moving, but we won't be ready to, that wouldn't be ready till later, huh? Because we've got to reconcile the writing that goes in Appendix
There's
C.
not enough time for people to work on it in the middle of a budget. season.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
just plain and simple.
So it's moving, but it's not there yet.
Right.
So do you need a motion not to put it on the agenda? Or you just cross
No,
off
I'll
Just had to
tick
double-
off the ones that go on. No.
it? It's on here. We're not gonna do anything with it. Why
I
is it on
just
here?
wanted to get an update of where we are. It's
I will
moving.
tell you that people are using the matrix for some of the work they're doing on their own committee.
Yes, PZNH.
And so is public health and safety.
Is
I
that
got
something-
assigned to a committee that meets every 4 years, so I feel like I did well.
Is that something for next November for the newly seated RTM?
It will be done before that. That's, well, yeah.
Okay.
So that's coming up.
Yeah, no, that's just in discussion. And I'll give you, I'll ask for a motion of all the items to go on the agenda for March 20 here after we get through these things. The town code blight committee, to include commercial property, is that, how's that? I see I see much correspondence. Is that ready for March 20 or?
Yes, it's being handed out right now.
Okay,
Now, there's always sort of a so I met with the Blight Review Board, transmitted the information to Wayne. He's embodied those remarks into this draft ordinance. I meet with the draft Blight Review Board on Wednesday of this week, giving them this document for their final review. I was very glad to receive this from Wayne, with the understanding that I always call it the whereases and the therefores. I think they're called the pleadings. And the pleadings have not been prepared for us. So in order to put this, here's a typical situation I'd like to discuss with you and Kristen, is can we send this out to our colleagues on the RTM without the pleadings on it? Because it's not an official resolution at that point. Until then, first of all, I don't know whether it can be an official resolution without the pleadings on it. But we've got the resolution.
okay.
If you have the changes to the code, and
Yeah.
so you can send up a draft copy of the changes to the code without the resolution.
Then
The
That-
committee's,
that's what we'll do.
PZNH is meeting this week. But if it's a draft, will they be in a position to recommend and vote and to make a recommendation to the RTM? in
Yeah.
this meeting?
On the draft, I mean, I've actually come up that we concur with the changes to the ordinance, whatever the number is, and I recommend the same to the full RTM. And then when we get the final thing, as long as it's consistent, you're in good hands.
Did
All right,
Wayne
so let's
mention
review
when,
how Krista will handle this.
did Wayne give you a time frame as to when he'll have the whereas and therefores?
That's difficult to say. Our attorneys.
That would be a no.
Because we have time, doesn't mean we have time, I mean, you could circulate this document, but we certainly,
It's difficult
from my
to say.
perspective, we have time.
That's right. As you
And we
know,
can
our
vote on
attorney is working on a lot of issues. And when he can
Okay.
finish his issues and focus on preparing the pleadings, then we'll have the pleadings.
Okay, I can work with Wayne, I'm just getting that,
I don't know.
fair enough.
Okay, so we got PZNH, and not PZNH, well, I
PZNH,
guess
I would think PZNH is primary and public
primary
health
and then
safety second.
PGS&A.
So that's a switch from what? But the last one,
I was gonna say public health and safety should be on it as well.
All right,
we were secondary last
You're right,
month.
you're right.
And F&B was, I thought F&B was primary,
Not on Blight.
Not on Blight.
non-blight.
Non-blight.
So PZA.
Yeah, I got nothing to do.
There's very
Well,
little
eventually
exact-
it might
there's very
be
little
money
exact
involved.
has nothing to do with, but this is on that list.
Not enough to move the needle.
all right, so I'll take a motion on the town code, on the blight committee, responsibilities to include commercial property as PZNH primary, PGS&A, and PHS secondary.
Yeah.
Okay, can I have a motion, please? And got a second from Michael?
Sure.
Okay,
As we leave the topic, can we review what Krista and I will be doing and sending out a warning notice?
Can you
When the
do-
warning is sent
We
out
can
in the
take that off,
package,
Yeah, can we do that
double check,
offline?
we can touch base tomorrow, that's,
so to be included in the warning.
okay, I have a motion, second, further discussion? All in favor? Okay, opposed, abstentions, I see none, it's unanimous. Next, the track appropriation, that's, I get what, Ed? Primary,
No.
F&B, no?
F&B because it's bonded.
Okay.
And
F&B
education
and
secondary.
Ed secondary?
Yeah, F&B has already had the bond council resolution and we've already approved that.
Yeah. Okay. Can I have a motion then, on the DHS track appropriation, F&B primary, education secondary?
Peter?
Peter, there we got you, Peter, sorry, right, oh, that's another, and Jack is smiling over there, all right. Okay, further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? None?
Can we
See
make
none?
sure that Ed
Abstentions?
knows that he's assigned to this because he was unaware on the last rules committee, which is why they did not meet him.
Make sure that everybody understands.
Education.
Yeah.
Okay, that education, okay,
You need to call that tomorrow.
we'll get it. All right, and I put in here on this acceptance of gifts and the change in the code on that, it's just a notice that has to be given at the annual meeting. We don't have to take any action tonight, and we may not have to take any action at all, so. But I did get a note from Kate about it, so I put it on the agenda just as sort of an FYI.
That, in fact, there is no action by the RTM on this. The ordinance is, I spoke to Wayne on this also, the ordinance is very specific. 10 days notify the Board of Finance, and in fact, specific of when the RTM is supposed to be notified, which is at our annual budget meeting, does not take effect to the following year, which is the fiscal year 24. We could, in fact, though, still have something to do with it if there is a need for an appropriation. So if we're getting just money, but there needs to be an appropriation, then both the Board of Finance and the RTM would still have to know. And speaking to Monica, Monica is working out how we do not lose recognition of those individuals, corporations, or non-for-profits that have contributed to the town that might not otherwise be noted in the RTM. So.
And this might simply be, it still would be on the agenda for the budget meeting
That's
as an announcement.
Yes.
So that's why we don't have to deal with it now, but I just got to remember to do it when we get to April and set the agenda for the budget meeting. Okay, setting the agenda for March 20, we have the planning and zoning fees, PCNH primary, F&B secondary. We have changing the accounting for police false alarm, F&B only. We have updating the town code on the blight, that's PCNH primary, TGS&A secondary, PH&S secondary. The track appropriation for 815,000, F&B primary, ed secondary.
Can I change the order, if you don't mind?
Yes,
I think P and Z first, because I got to imagine that Jeremy will be present. And as an employee, we don't want to keep him here longer than he needs to be. Track appropriation second after that, because members of the Board of Ed will be here for that. Since they were hoping to have it done in February, we moved it to March. And then after that, it doesn't matter what the other two are.
okay,
Like
so
when
I'll,
does TGS and I have to be there for, I mean, that's planning and zoning. Does planning and zoning have to be there for the light one?
I don't know.
So let's put that third, just in case.
Yeah.
If Jeremy's here, he'd probably stay for that, so it makes sense.
Okay.
Right.
Make it third.
okay, so,
And if he is saying we should probably make it second if that meeting just follows.
Yes.
Well, why don't we make it second?
Because
the
I
education
don't
got it?
know, and education will be.
Okay.
all right, folks, let's try this again. So we'll go with the planning and zoning fees first. Second, I have is the DHS track. Third is the town code. And then we can go on to the police false alarm fees. And that should do it. Okay, so can I have a motion, please, for that? Peter wants in for another one,
Yeah,
okay.
Joe made. the-
And Joe was, I saw Joe's hand, I saw, it was one of these, but I saw
It
his.
was a lefty.
So,
It was a righty.
all right,
Yeah, but life.
further discussion? All in favor? Okay, opposed? I see none. Abstentions? I see none. Motion carries unanimously. That sets the agenda for March 20. New business? Don't hear any. I'll take a motion to adjourn. Great. Frank, second. All those in favor, please rise.
Yeah.
We did it, Jack.